We're done with the transfer, so that's principal evaluation. And I think at this point, Shrikapuri, you asked that. You have that in the agenda.
Right. So the teachers, we're just wondering why we didn't do a principal evaluation this year. It's an annual thing we're supposed to do. We've had quorum, minus students even. We've had enough for quorum for this entire calendar year, except for 1 month, I believe. So we're just wondering why we didn't do a principal evaluation this year.
Right. First of all, let me tell you something. When a meeting is adjourned and you throw a question like that, you're not giving me a chance to say yes or explain something, because after a meeting is adjourned, I'm not supposed to answer those type of questions because the meeting is adjourned.
This
right?
meeting's been
No,
adjourned.
last meeting, you asked the question about the principal's evaluation. So I answered no, right? So then I saw your email, the email you sent, and I would like to clarify that when the meeting is adjourned, we don't really discuss anything, or we can ask any of those questions that has to be discussed during the LSC meeting. So
I don't.
you're not getting my point?
No, I'm getting your point. The meeting's the meeting.
No, I'm not talking about this meeting. I'm talking that the last meeting we have, after the meeting was adjourned, you asked me about the principal's evaluation. What I'm trying to clarify to everyone is that when a meeting is adjourned, no questions related to the business of the LLC are supposed to be asked, because then we are getting into a violation and I can get in trouble. So it's something that I'm not going to do, because I don't want to get in trouble for things that I'm not supposed to get into a position where, I have no time for that. So for that reason, I need to clarify that, because I answered no, right? And then I went to you to explain you some of the reasons. So at this point, due to the circumstances, and because I need to talk about one in a specific member that could be eligible to go into the principal's evaluation, but due to some criteria that LSCs are supposed to follow, we are in the risk to lose that vote. So I cannot get in details because I'm not gonna use names, but that's the reason we didn't perform the principal evaluation.
Wait, I didn't understand.
And I'm trying to reserve. Okay, if I get into discussion and explain, I have to reveal name of a LLC member who's currently serving as in the LLC and could be in risk for some criteria that LLCs internally has to follow. So I cannot discuss anything because I have to talk about one person in specific, and I'm not going to do that. Everything that I can say is that the evaluation is going to be performed, but we have to wait until fall. So we are going to evaluate, but it's going to be until fall.
So we can't talk about why we're not having an evaluation because someone on this council.
No, it's not what I said. And how it's not clear. So this is the thing. I'm getting kind of tired to try to be polite and speak in English, but every time I try to explain myself, I see or people is misunderstanding what I'm saying, or people doesn't want to listen what I'm saying. So I'm gonna say it in Spanish, and I'm gonna ask someone to translate it, and maybe that way everyone is gonna be okay. So, lo que estoy diciendo es de que no se efectuó la evaluación porque hay un miembro de concilio que tiene una situación no muy clara y su voto pudo haber sido, dadas ciertas circunstancias y protocolos que se tienen que seguir dentro de los concilios escolares. Ese voto podría anularse. Dada a esas circunstancias, no pretendo hablar o exponer a esa persona en específico y por esa razón no puedo discutir más o dar más explicaciones al respecto. Anyone wants to translate?
It's the same thing.
Pretty much, just straight to the point. So there's a member on the LSC that will compromise the vote due to whatever reason,
With other circumstances.
and so unfortunately,
We don't have the votes.
we don't have the votes.
We don't have the eligible. We are in a difficult situation. So it doesn't mean that we didn't perform the evaluation. We are going to evaluate, but we didn't evaluate at this time. So we're gonna wait until fall to do that.
So
Will that person be on the council in the fall?
I cannot say that because if I say that, I'm giving you
Okay.
information that I'm not supposed to
I'm
share.
just asking because if they're gonna be on the council in the fall, then we can't do it then either.
how does the situation substantively change?
Señor Quiles.
Yeah, Madam Chair. Okay, the principal evaluation is on the table. Are we going to put a date for it and continue so we can move forward? Because I heard your explanation, and I'm pretty clear of what you're saying. And I think that all we need to do is put a date so we can move forward if the evaluation is on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, there is going to be a new LSC starting next month. So yeah.
They can pick the date then.
Mm-hmm.
So then the current LSC doesn't weigh in on that principal evaluation, as I understand it, is that right?
I'm sorry.
She says, dice que el concilio ahorita corriente no tiene decir en mi evaluación a ese tiempo. Pero sí me evaluaron en el fall, en el otoño.
We evaluate in fall. So we did evaluate. We didn't conclude the evaluation. So the other half of the evaluation. So we can do that in fall this year coming up.
They did. So I did get an evaluation. I remember I had to sign it when I was released from the hospital. I got an evaluation. You had the special meeting was held.
Mm-hmm.
They read me the numbers in person, but I wasn't walking at the time. So they delivered them and they gave me all the feedback from the team. So I did have an evaluation in October. That's when I believe I signed it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was turned over to LSC Relations before the deadline for the fall. The only one that hasn't been completed is the second half, which is always tied to data, which will make it easier because this one it has to be with test scores and end of the year data. So that'll be factored in. But just rest assured that I get evaluated by my boss 3 times a year.
For clarification.
Yeah, so I do get evaluated BOI, MOI based on the domains. And it's a very comprehensive process where I have to produce a lot of evidence of each of the domains, in addition to this evaluation. So I understand the timeliness and that there may be competing commitments here. I'm okay with being evaluated whenever. I have everything ready to go for whenever. Remember, Frank kept bringing the binders. Then we took the binders, brought the binders, took the binders. So I was ready. So, and then they changed the letters. So at any time it's going to be, but of course the feedback, I took to heart the feedback that was given to me in the fall. And those are the things that I communicated to my deputy in terms of areas that I wanted to work on.
I don't even know how to respond. I was going to try and summarize. I don't know if someone wants to help me. So we're not going to do one. We already missed due May 1st. We didn't do one because there's a member of the council who would compromise it in some way that we can't talk about. This person may or may not be a member of the council after July. We're going to do it in November with this person, or maybe not with this person who may or may not compromise it then. Is any,
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr.
That's what it
Aquiles.
sounds like.
does that,
Well, you know, we're repeating
coherent
what we
as well?
said. I know the purpose of repeating it so they could record it and use it further down the line. That is no problem. But I suggest that since a new council is coming aboard in July the 1st, why don't we just go ahead and table it and let the council that is coming go ahead and decide when the date is going to be? Because it's not fair for the newcomers that we give a date, and if they can't show up, you know, we're not giving them a chance. So I would like to make a motion to table the evaluation for the coming council.
I second.
Mr. Rolando, second. It's open for discussion.
was this even a vote? It wasn't a motion.
He made a
Yes,
motion.
give person a motion.
Is it open for discussion?
Yes, it is.
So we're waiting for direction from LSC Relations on how to proceed.
No.
The new
So then
council.
who's making that decision that the evaluation can be made? I think that's the question.
That's the question, like who's gonna make the decision if we can proceed or not?
The new LSC.
The new LSC will pick the date.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not clear, but
Okay,
I understand
What I'm saying here is the question is like to make me responsible why we didn't evaluate. Okay? So I'm not responsible why we didn't evaluate. I'm just trying to explain. I'm just trying to explain something, but I mean I have restrictions because there is some information that I'm not supposed to share, right?
Okay, but that's
And
why we have a motion on the table,
Right.
so we could let the other council deal with it.
to make the new council to decide when pick date time to evaluate. And we will evaluate both things at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, there's no,
Because it's not that we didn't evaluate, we evaluate. And we did it last year in around November.
Yeah, I was in the car
October,
accident. Yeah,
November?
you did evaluate me in the fall.
that was,
You completed the first part.
that was the evaluation that was delayed from the previous May. So we're, you know, everything's being delayed again. And the problem doing it with the new council, which I doesn't look like we're going to be able to escape it, is there'll be several new people on the new council who weren't present for the period that we're evaluating. So it's discredits the evaluation to some degree. I mean, you know, but I guess we know
Mr.
that.
Capuri, when we have no intentions to come in agreement of to listen each other, I mean, it's like waste of time trying to explain something over and over.
I mean,
So we're going to evaluate, but it's going to be,
November.
no, I didn't say November. I said in fall. So we are supposed to evaluate in fall. So anytime in fall can be performed the evaluation. So what we are doing right now is to table that for the new LSC to decide at a date and time and move forward with the evaluation.
Permission to speak.
Yes.
So the thing is that what I can give the new council is every presentation that I've done, every principal report has been aligned to the principal competencies. So all of the evidence is ready to go in terms of sharing it with the council for the work that's happened. In terms of this year, last year, I have the principal reports that were aligned to the old competencies if they wish to see that. We have all of the PSAT data from the last 2 years to show the impact, because one of the indicators for the evaluation is what impact have I had on student outcomes for both academically and social emotionally in terms of everything. So the good thing is that all of the data is there from PSAT, attendance, behavior. We're trending upward. It's not perfect, but at least we've had gains. So I have everything ready to go in terms of showing both current LSC and that the work that we're doing is making an impact on students, and everything's already aligned to the standards. both the old one and the new one. So it's just a matter of sharing. If the new counselor decides that that's part of the process, right? Because part of that is I'm not involved, right? So if that's what the request is, then the members from this team, because some of you are carrying over into the next LSC, can gladly share everything or discuss it with them. You also can give them the fall evaluation so that they can build off of that and talk about the action items from that evaluation so that the voice of this team remains intact, carrying over into the new, right? So there's a way to bridge that, even though, I mean, whatever the reason is that I wasn't evaluated yet, and respecting the decisions or whatever, is that I have everything to communicate with the new LSC, and whatever the process is decided by the new LSC and what they want, I will gladly provide to them. But I would ask that the old evaluation be included to honor the feedback that was provided by this LSC and the outgoing LSC members into the new one. So whatever the numbers were, whatever the feedback was, whatever the action items were for me, we carry that over, and I would like to include that so that, again, it shows transparency and it shows that I'm willing to work with the feedback of this LSC going into the next LSC.
Last discussion? I roll call for vote.
This is to table it, right?
Right.
Dr. Vilches,
I don't think I can vote abstain. I can't vote because it's
Regarding principal's evaluation.
You can't vote on either, right?
Right.
So it's not
We can't
gonna pass regardless.
Divine can't vote.
oh, the student, right. Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Keelis,
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Ms. Dunn,
Yes.
Ms. Hanson,
Abstain.
Ms. Shoei, Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion didn't pass.